What's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to the Tundra Dude 34 YouTube channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you know every time I put up a new video and/or a live stream. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you probably know, a lot of these videos are made based on questions from your emails and your comments. Well, today I'm going to mix a few of them together, and we're going to talk about 3 parts you guys keep asking about. And those 3 parts are the TRD rear sway bar. Is it worth it? When to buy it? When to pass on it? Under-seat storage for the CrewMax, because we know stock Toyota does not offer under-seat rear storage for the CrewMax. They do the double cab, but I'm going to give you some options for your CrewMax models out there. And number 3 is, it has to do with the TRD intake, how to save a little money if you don't want to spend $475 to $500 for that. All right, so let's get started. We'll go with the easy one, a very, very popular upgrade, and that is the TRD rear sway bar. I've had TRD rear sway bars on almost all of my Tundras except the one in my driveway right now, which is a 2020 TRD Pro. Army green, I absolutely love it. And there's a reason for that. In the Tundras that I've owned that I've put the rear sway bar on, it all depends on suspension. Now, the point of the rear sway bar, it's supposed to help with the body roll and the cornering of the truck. Any of you guys, it doesn't matter what cab you've had, regular, double cab, or CrewMax, know on the Tundra likes to sway around the road quite a bit in certain situations. Well, that TRD rear sway bar works magic. It's a little over $200, and it is a very simple installation, and it is amazing what something that cheap and that easy to install will do to a big 6,000-pound truck. It blows my mind, actually. So what it does is it really holds that truck to the road, and you will feel a difference immediately. If you have a TRD Pro or a TRD Pro suspension, I suggest you skip this. Don't get the TRD rear sway bar, because that suspension is all about travel and articulation. So when I've actually had that TRD rear sway bar on some of my TRD Pro suspensions, it almost feels like the truck is a little jittery on the road because you're not letting the suspension do what it's got to do. So if you have that TRD Pro suspension, whether it be the old Bilstein, whether it be the new Fox, you might want to skip that. And same thing if you have an aftermarket suspension that lifts the truck or anything like that. You don't want to take away from the travel of the suspension the point that you have it, especially if you're someone that off-roads. But if it's an on-road truck, or if you tow a lot and you want to keep that truck centered on the road nice with no body roll, no sway, and really, really tight in the cornering, check out that TRD rear sway bar. That is actually available at sparksparts.com, and if you use promo code TundraDude34, you will save 5%. It is worth it. Once again, TRD Pro suspension, I'd skip it. Number 2, and this is one that I get questioned on all the time. First, the question is always, how come the CrewMax Tundra does not come with under-seat storage? And my answer to you is, I have no idea, because there are options out there. There's places like ESP Accessories. It's a great website. Go check it out. They have all different options for under-seat storage for your CrewMax. I actually had an ESP. It was a plastic one. It had 3 different containers in it. I put it into my Platinum CrewMax. The installation wasn't too crazy. You had to cut into the rug and the foam a little bit to fit it in, but it fit really snug. And it's great for things like if you need some tools under your seats, maybe, you know, in case you break down a blanket, stuff like that. It does work. There were 3 separate compartments. That is not your only option out there. There are long aluminum boxes with 1 long storage tube. There's compartments with a lock top on it. There are a lot of different options. And the website ESP Accessories does offer quite a few of them. Prices range big time, a little over $200 all the way up to almost $700 depending on what you want. But if you're all about that under-seat storage in the CrewMax, it is available to you. Just so you know, and I'm going to read this so I don't mess this up, one of the things that they say on the ESP website, and I've heard this quite a few times, this particular one here, it fits all 2014 to 2021 CrewMax, but keep in mind, for 2020 and 2021 with the Smart Key, care must be taken when cutting out foam in center compartment due to wiring harness under foam. As you guys know, they made some changes in 2020 and 2021 with the push button start stuff. They upgraded the shark fin antenna and the electronics in the Entune 3.0 system and everything like that. So some of the wiring diagrams must have changed a little bit. So if you are buying for your 2020 or 2021 Tundra, keep that in mind before cutting into anything. Make sure you know where you're cutting. A lot of these boxes come with very detailed instructions, so that should help you along the way. The 3-compartment one I did on my 2017 came with a template, instructions. It was a very easy install. If you go to my parts install playlist, it is somewhere in there. ESP, accessories, rear seat storage. Check it out. I did it in a snowy day. I do remember that a couple years ago. Anyway, so that's number 2. There are options out there. The double cab Tundra comes standard with under seat storage, which blows a lot of people's minds why the CrewMax doesn't have it, but it is what it is. Just know there are options if you're ready to spend a little money on that. Number 3 is an email I get every once in a while, but I did get one just yesterday, so I wanted to bring this up. It has to do with the TRD intake. The TRD intake is quite expensive. It's about $475 to $500. I'm sure there's some deals out there to find it a little bit cheaper, but that's usually what the price is on that. What does it offer you as far as benefits? People always ask about horsepower, torque, things like that. You got to remember, when you buy things like not just TRD, but any intake, you might get a little horsepower bump, 5 to 10 maybe. Nothing you'll really feel in the truck. There's 2 main things you're going to want to buy the TRD intake for. Number 1, if you're someone who goes to a lot of car shows and you lift the hood up, it has a great look to it. It looks great in that 5.7 liter iForce V8 engine, big TRD logo, a little red accenting here and there. It definitely gives you a little more sound in the engine bay. And personally, in my opinion, in the middle gears, it really comes alive and makes that truck's throttle response feel a little bit better. Nothing crazy, probably placebo effect, but it definitely helps when you spend that kind of money on that kind of part. The only way to get real horsepower gains out of your Tundra when you're really looking for big numbers, say you put an exhaust and intake, tunes are the way to do that. But the problem is with tuning, that does void your warranty most of the time. So make sure you check into that before you do anything crazy. I did a supercharger and all sorts of stuff on my 2017 Platinum. Pretty much blew the warranty right out of the water. So it is what it is. It depends on the direction you want to go. Maybe your truck's already out of warranty and you don't have anything to worry about. But that's how you get major gains when you do things like tuning. Little parts here and there. They'll give you, a little more sound, like I said, but the horsepower gains won't be there for you. So when people ask about intakes, I always tell them K&N intake, that's like $270 depending on which one you get. The TRD intake is the most expensive. There's AFE, there's Air-Aid, there's so many different options out there. But one option I do point to folks is the cheapest option, and that is keep your intake that comes in the Tundra, which is very, very similar to the intake or the TRD intake, all right? It goes into the fender and everything. It has that cool air setup. I always suggest to them 2 things you can change to make it very close to it is put in the TRD air filter and maybe buy that airflow accelerator that goes into the fender wall. Those are the 2 main differences between the regular intake and the TRD intake. Now that filter and the airflow accelerator is probably going to run you about $90 to $100 versus $500, okay? It's big savings. You're going to miss out on the look. It's still going to have, that plain old black airbox look to it, but you're going to get that little more sound. You might get a little more feel in the response in the engine, like I said, in the middle gears and stuff like that. But you could save $400 here, $350 to $400 just for a little part here and there. And it's going to give you that, most of the stuff you want. If you're in it for the look, you might want to look at the TRD intake, like I said. If you have money to spend, the TRD intake is engineered for the Tundra, right? It's not like one of those other things like a K&N that is engineered for a lot of different trucks and you got to do a bunch of cutting and stuff to make it fit your truck. No. The TRD intake, why I prefer it, it's made for the Tundra and the Tundra only. Engineered by Toyota and TRD for your Tundra. And that is worth the extra couple $100 if you're into buying the full system. It is a very easy install. I've installed dozens of TRD intakes, no problem. Probably 15, 20, 30 minutes depending on, anything going on as far as do you have a hand to help, weather, stuff like that. But a very easy install, so check that out. But again, if you want to save money, TRD air filter, airflow accelerator are the 2 main things that make up that TRD intake because the intakes are very, very similar. If you actually look at the picture, both of them almost identical. So keep that in mind, and that is how you save some money. So to quick recap, TRD rear sway bar is very much worth it Unless you have an aftermarket suspension or a TRD Pro suspension, you might want to skip that to allow the truck suspension to travel and articulate and do what it's supposed to do. But if you have a stock suspension, even TRD off-road suspension, I strongly suggest that TRD rear sway bar. Number 2, CrewMax. There are storage compartments available. Go check out websites like ESP Accessories out there. Even Sparks Parts has one of the ones that I used to have with the 3 compartments in it, and it's plastic and it's open on top. You can go check them out because then you can use the Tundra 234 promo code to save yourself a little money. And number 3, if you don't feel like spending $500 on a TRD intake, TRD air filter, airflow accelerator, probably save you about $350 to $400, and you get the same idea of what you want. If you're looking for that little bit of extra sound, you know, when you put your foot down on the pedal on the truck, if you want to hear that little bit of intake sound that comes when you buy these systems, a lot of people have done this modification and saved all that money, and they seem to be very happy. So I hope that helps for you guys today with your current generation Tundras. But anyway, let me know what you think. If you have any questions about any more parts with the Tundra and you want me to make a video, all you have to do is go down in the comments below. Until next time, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook at TundraDude34, TundraDude34 at gmail.com. You guys have a great day, be safe, and be well.